Well, this is exciting. I feel like we can start this Joe Rogan style, just casually. You
Yeah.
know? But first real podcast discussion here in our new stationary podcast setup studio at Make the Turn.
Comfortable couch, by
Looks
the way.
really nice.
It looks really nice. The feng shui of the room is certainly coming together. Excited to finally sit down and talk about
I
this.
think first of many, both internally and, of course, for all of our partners. You know, what a great opportunity we have the green screen set up where you can overlay anything basically in the background. But to have just a comfortable stationary setting like this looks nice. I think it's first of many conversations with all of us that we can just unpack topics about the company, about just industry things, happenings, have guests in to talk, have our partners and network people in to chat, and then of course we want all of our partners to be able to come in and use the studio. Mm-hmm. I almost sometimes think of it as not a gym membership or anything like that, but for all of our clients and partners to know that they have access to come in here and use it.
It's so interesting the way that podcasting has really taken over. I mean, we come from traditional media, and podcasting was like just getting started, and it was like, oh, you're in your parents' basement, and now it's literally everywhere you look, there's some sort of thing. And it's not oversaturated in the sense like there's so much to talk about, and there's so many different elements: business, life, recreation, parenting, like mental health. Like, I mean, there's just so many different areas that you could talk about things, and people have some great ideas out there. And that's one of the great things about this space is we're going to be able to let our people come in here, utilize this space whenever they can find some time to do so.
And podcasting is also a great tool as well.
Yes.
I think that some people, you hear the word podcast and, we'll mention just for sake of example, again, Joe Rogan or Alex Cooper or Logan Paul. When you start a podcast, that's not, I'm all for dreaming big, but that's not the goal or expectation a lot of the times when you're starting a podcast. If a business starts a podcast, the purpose and use case, you can get so much good footage for content. You can maximize your time and your partner's time where maybe you have a 30-minute discussion that leads to 12 social media clips that you can pull from it. So it's really, I think, good for multi-purpose and maximizing the time and just for networking. Instead of asking someone to take a meeting or asking someone to grab a coffee, you kind of give value at first. Maybe it's a prospect, maybe a network person. Hey, why don't you come and chat? Let's talk business. And it's a great networking tool and door opener. And I really, I think of podcast from a business standpoint really as a great tool for the company. It's not about going viral. Everyone wants views and everyone wants engagement, and that's great. But it's a great tool to be able to have for your business and be able to hand to people too.
It's. I say this all the time. You want to work with people you like, and podcasting or you can call it podcast. I wish there was a less kitschy word for it because I feel like there's a negative connotation of another podcast,
a discussion.
But it's so
brainstorm.
It's such a cool and fun way where the camera's been rolling for a couple minutes now, and I don't feel under pressure. I feel like I'm getting
we
more
don't have a script
comfortable. There's no script here, so it's one of those things where the opportunity to sit down and just like learn about somebody and like, do I like you? Can I work with you? That's like where it is. And a cup of coffee certainly can do those things, but this is a way where once we start talking about what we're going to talk about today, we're going to stumble upon some really fun things that happened, and I can't wait to see how this long form thing gets cut down into the pieces. So this is kind of like almost like a tutorial for our partners to hopefully watch this, glean some cool insight from a really cool journey, but also see the power and the clips that can come out of spending some time talking.
Yep. And with that being said, obviously excited for what we're going to talk about, as you mentioned. So as many people know, and for those that don't know, the Detroit Auto Show and the DADA are great partners of ours. And what a fun time it is working on the Detroit Auto Show, not only the couple weeks of the show, but truly year round.
Yeah.
And what we're going to get specific with, the drive home that you just went on in conjunction with America's Automotive Trust. That was just a incredible journey. We're going to talk about the 13 days of it, Justin, that you went out to Santa Monica on January 2nd, and it concluded with driving from Santa Monica, Route 66 anniversary, 100th anniversary in Detroit, concluding January 14th. But before we get into that, I guess specifically, this is one example, and this leads up to the auto show right before it. So this is one example, but speak for a second about our partnership with the auto show and how it really is a year-round engagement.
It really is, because the way that we and the executive director, Sam Clement, great friend of ours, and we've continued to grow that relationship. But man, is he really taking a 10-day event, a 2-week event, if you will, and he has really said, no, we're going to talk about this 365 days a year. Not to the point where it's ad nauseum, but through the My Drive, My City, My Show campaign that we've helped over the last year and a half, through just different events, having a fashion show at a Ferrari dealership this past year. We're going to be doing a car show this summer at some location with a movie presentation that we'll be speaking about what movie you'll be watching there. But also getting into the community and making sure that kids are in Detroit are learning all about STEM and STEAM and learning how to get into the automotive. We are the Motor City, and when he and I were just sitting around one day talking like about the auto show and stuff, he said to me, just kind of just spilled out of his mouth, he just said, there's only one Motor City. What? So that's what really kind of turned that whole thing, and we built a whole graphics campaign around it this year. All the merch that we were wearing, there's only one Motor City. And I think that speaks to Detroit, the greater Detroit area, Michigan as a whole being an automotive, capital of the world. And in reality, I mean, so many people out there have connections to the automotive world, whether you work in it currently or you have a family member or a grandpa or aunt, uncle, cousin, whoever. You can't get away from it. So that's kind of how we decided to look at the campaign year round. And as we enter 2026, we're already thinking about the 2027 auto show, which is crazy to think because it's literally just happened like 2 weeks ago.
It's a massive event, and it's awesome. I think on all of our parts with our company and all of our team, the pride that everyone takes in it, and the fact that it really is, we're all from here, and I think it means a lot to work with such a organization that is so Detroit, like you said, one Motor City, and to work with. I mean, God, the Detroit Auto Show is just a staple of it's not only a staple of this community, of this state, but it's a staple of, quite frankly, the country and the world. An international event, and it's we don't take that for granted in terms of our how fortunate we feel and how much we enjoy that partnership with Sam and Michelle and the DADA and the Detroit Auto Show and working with them, and how much it's how much fun it's been, and even just the other relationships that come from it and the experiences that we have. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I think, in 2026 and 2027.
I can't believe it's already
26 and
7
and onwards.
Right, but don't clip that part.
No, that's kind of amazing, some of the trends, isn't it? But Justin, what's fascinating too, again, just to talk about the in conjunction with America's Automotive Trust, the drive home, and we'll overlay obviously some graphics so you guys can see on the screen, but. I was flipping through this, obviously saw the content we did from it, saw a lot of your personal stories and what we've chatted about. But one thing that really stood out to me is the itineraries on a daily basis. I mean, you went from, just to recap, January 2nd in Santa Monica through California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Illinois, back to Michigan to kind of kick off the auto show on January 13th and January 14th when it began. But along the way, I mean, I'm reading anything from stopping at Route 66 restaurants, cafes, general stores. It seems like it's what an Americana type trip that you got to go on. You got the jacket there, all the patches, everything. It seems like just an unforgettable adventure that you went on.
So when we got to Santa Monica, Automotive Trust, we had been talking obviously for months, getting everything set up, and what they said, we're going to order jean jackets. And I go, jean jacket? I don't want a jean jacket. I think this is one of my favorite articles of clothing because of what it went through. And I think all these pins that you'll be able to see, we'll get a closer shot of this, but
it's like trading jerseys in the NFL.
Exactly. Every single stop we made along the route that had any sort of historical significance or was a place, like the Wigwam. We stopped at a Buc-ee's. There's Uranus. There's a place that sells fudge called Uranus, which is hilarious. So I bought a pin. They have the giant museums. I mean, Winslow, Arizona, standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona. I literally spent an evening there, and then the next morning going back. I found this really cool pin at a pawn shop. It's a Detroit Lions helmet.
Yeah.
And it's got the Lions logo. Somebody made it.
You should get all this framed.
I'm going to, but like all of these hotels and gas stations, it is in my estimation, if you want to reconnect with your country, and again, we're not getting political, but right now it's been kind of crazy, right? If you want to reconnect with your country, go on Route 66. Spend 2 days, spend 3 days out west, drive a little bit, touch some grass, because the people that you meet along the way. Not only are the sights cool and to see the old neon signs and to see how some of these people, I mean, there's a woman in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She created a character about 7 years ago, and it's this space cowboy. And so I started wondering, because I started seeing a theme as we went across the country. There was all sorts of like space. Why is there a Uranus fudge shop? Why is there this space cowboy? Why is there UFOs and aliens? And like along the way, you just see little like glimpses. Well, come to find out, I learned a ton about American history during this, because when Route 66 and the automobile first kind of really came and gave the people freedom to move around our country the way that it did, high speeds, 50 miles an hour, but high speeds, higher than a carriage and those types of things, that was during the space race against the Soviets. So all these people that were building were kind of playing off of the space race and how that was a part of the Americana in the 50s and 60s. So it was super, super, super cool to see all of these old hotels and the revitalization of them and the towns, because people still live there. Yeah. And they've been there. I mean, the woman that I talked to in Winslow, Arizona, she goes, I'm a third generation. I've been working at this store since I was born. And now I'm a 45-year-old woman, and I'm still here meeting people from all over the world.
And I mean, the stories, the stops, and I want to get to in a minute. I know you did some. I'm getting hungry just reading all of these from the restaurants, and I see one that I've actually been to before that I'm going to get to in a second. But I'm sure the Americana, the stories, the people, and one thing that we haven't really mentioned yet is 9, I believe a total of 9 classic vehicles that made this drive. You know, old vehicles, classic vehicles from Santa Monica to Detroit. What was that like, having these classic vehicles?
That was probably the coolest part. So to give you guys a little bit of context and history, America's Automotive Trust has done the drive home for the last 6 years. This was the 7th rendition.
Another 6, 7.
6, 7. So they have done this drive. They've done it different ways. They've done like Pacific Northwest across the top of the country. They've come up from Florida. They've come from the east. They've come from New York. They've done all sorts of different trips. But because it's the centennial anniversary of Route 66, they said, this just makes sense. Let's go on a cross-country journey, because Route 66 starts in Chicago and ends in Santa Monica. We just added that little bit of, because the Detroit Auto Show's there. But it made perfect sense. Yep. And so to have these 9 cars, so knowing this was a 10-day journey, 11-day journey, I had the idea that let's tell the story of the drive through the lens of these cars. Let's get to learn about these cars and the places and the people that we're at on a day-to-day basis. So it's not just a rinse repeat of the same thing. Like we're learning about a new car, we're learning about a new car owner, we're learning about why this car. So we had an old station wagon that we're in Space City in the middle of nowhere, and it was just the coolest thing to be a downtown. They had this giant astronaut that I took my drone and my iPhone, and that was all I shot this entire video on. Yeah. And it was just so cool to see this like station wagon. And every time we drove into a city, there'd be car clubs waiting for us. We went to this place called Pops Soda, and it's this giant.
Not Pops for Italian.
Not Pops for Italian in Ferndale. Pops Soda, and it's literally on Route 66. And they built this, I don't know, 5-story soda pop bottle, like a giant white.
Well, we say pop, you know.
Pops
in Detroit.
In Detroit. And they had every single flavor of soda you could think of. And they also had a So Disgusting category where they had categories like barf, fart, gas oil. Like, it was just, and they were bottled and packed. Of course, they didn't, taste terrible. People were drinking them. But it was just so unique to see. And that was just something new, too.
I mean, I've seen even some of the names on here. Blue Swallow Motel, Cuervo Ghost Town. And I know that you did several eating challenges along the way. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up as a perfect way to talk about the eating challenges, because I remember in high school took a road trip out west, and I've been to the Big Texan Steak Ranch in Amarillo. And
Yes.
I didn't do the 72-ounce challenge. I don't even know. This is good because I haven't talked to you about this specifically, but I know Sam was joking about all the eating challenges you did too. But the Big Texan, I remember the food challenge of all the sides and the 72-ounce steak, and they ring the bell, and it's, you get, if you complete it, you get it for free. I guess start there. And number one, did you do that challenge? And tell us about the food challenge element to this trip.
So,
how many, you look great, but I'm sure you gained a few pounds.
I didn't work out one day for like the entire month of January, and I'm paying the price for it now.
The opposite of dry January.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kept eating and drinking the entire month.
Wet January.
So we walk into the Big Texan. Now this all started because the first night when we were in Barstow, California, eating dinner, we just finished the first leg of the drive from Santa Monica to Barstow. And we went to this little diner, and this diner was right on Route 66, and they had a food challenge where it was 4 third-pound burger patties and a plate of fries, and if you ate it all in 5 minutes, you got like a T-shirt, and it was Roy's Diner.
Okay.
So I'm with Sam and with the president of the auto show board this year, Todd Zott. And they're like, Justin, you have to do the challenge. And I was like, okay, I'll do the challenge. So this burger comes out, and it's this tall, it's this wide, and the fries around it. And I said, guys, I'm going to try to eat the burger in 5 minutes. I don't think I want to get sick on the first night of the trip because I've got 9 more days to go.
Yeah.
But I ate that burger in 5 minutes. I jammed it down, this giant burger. Then we get to the Big Texan a couple days later. I wasn't with those guys. I was with the rest of the people we were driving with.
What a cool spot.
It was great. We walk in there, and it's got like an arcade in the back and a bar and a gift shop and all sorts of stuff. And I walk in there, and one of the people that welcomed us to Amarillo was like, we're paying for dinner tonight. So I'm like, well, I'm getting the Big Tex. Yeah. I'm going to try the 72-ounce steak challenge.
There's no way you completed that.
No, this thing.
And it's a bunch of sides too, right?
It's 3 coconut shrimp, a baked potato, a side salad, a roll, and this 72-ounce steak.
And it's an hour to eat?
You have an hour. And so I'm telling you, it's probably as big as this table.
Yeah.
It came in front of my face, and I went, oh, there's just no way. And it was about an inch and a half thick.
How far did you get?
I got a quarter of the way done.
Yeah.
But I had all the sides.
It's good,
I had all the sides. So it was basically like getting like a 20-ounce strip.
Yeah.
Because I ate about 20 ounces of meat.
I remember that place being good.
Oh, it was so good.
And I also remember that they will send, we had a hotel nearby, and they'll send a limo to pick you up. Did
they really?
They really just are a classic Texas steakhouse place that is known for that challenge.
It was I did it with a guy who was wearing a Buckeye shirt. He was decked out in red. He was from Ohio somewhere, so me and this guy get to talking or whatever. He kept on complaining about how his steak was too peppered. I'm like, bro, you signed up for a eating challenge. Like, don't complain about the quality of the food. You're not here to enjoy your meal.
Well, how many challenges did you do?
I did 2.
Okay.
In total. Cool. There were a couple other ones that like I looked at, and it was like at that point I was like, I can't do it. I can't eat anymore. I can't eat any more burgers. Because the cool thing about it, and that's why I say, like, if you're going to do this trip, like, doing the whole thing is obviously awesome. I would definitely recommend, though, going west and coming as far as you can get through, like, Kansas into Illinois. Because once you really get past, like, St. Louis, Route 66 is kind of it's not a thing. Mm-hmm. In the Midwest, I mean, we don't think about it in Chicago, right? We don't think. I mean,
but everyone knows it. It's
correct.
The Cars movie and the
yes.
just pop culture.
Well, and
everyone knows it.
There's a little slice.
Songs.
There's a little slice that we kind of did a detour. So cool thing about being on the road with 10 cars. We had a big trailer with 2 cars broke down for a day each.
I'm sure.
So we had to like troubleshoot on the road. I was in a media car and people were getting in with me, and somebody was driving half the time, and then he almost killed me 3 times, so I decided I was going to drive instead, and then I was working in the car, and so it was just so cool. But we went through, there's about an 11-mile stretch of Route 66 that goes through Kansas. just the tip corner of Kansas, and it's often forgotten about. But we stopped there. Oh my God! Apparently, there's this bathroom that like people get married in because it's so
Wow.
unique. This guy built like a whole like urinal thing out of. I mean, it just that. And then they have a Cars museum. So Mater, if you're familiar with the Cars franchise, I'm not super familiar with it.
Yeah.
But the truck that drives backwards faster, that's based on a real man that lives in that town
That's
of
cool.
Galena,
Yeah.
Kansas. And he had his foot. He could turn his feet all the way around and walk.
Huh.
Like, so that's how Mater, and like apparently the girl that I talked to at the shop, she was talking about how, people from Pixar just happened to be driving through and they saw the truck and they were like, because it's got the weird bending, bars on the top. And they created a character. I mean, it's just, these are the things that when you go out and you actually just do a true adventure, because so many, and I just went to Mexico on an all-inclusive. It wasn't an adventure. There's
Yeah.
nothing adventurous
Yeah.
about it.
It's
This was so much
this is-
more of a true journey and a vacation that, yeah, it was a lot of work. I mean, I did work every day when I was there, but gosh, man, I tell you, it was one of the coolest things I've ever done, and I'm going to have a hard time topping it.
Well, and this is perfect. I mean, what a perfect example I'm about to do is as we know there's going to be clips that come out of this. So I'm actually going to lead into that right now, and we can speak like this because we're just having a discussion organically. But as we're sitting here talking about the drive home with America's Automotive Trust, January 2nd through January 14th, call it, you were on the road from Santa Monica to Detroit, Route 66, Centennial Anniversary. What is the coolest part about that trip if I had to put you on the spot?
The coolest part, it's the people. I mean, from the people that were in the caravan with us that I got to have a relationship, strangers, perfect strangers. I knew nobody on this trip. You want to talk about learning people on the fly, and they didn't. They knew each
Lifelong
other,
friends, probably,
but
yeah.
absolutely lifelong friends. But the people that are keeping Route 66 alive, we can't forget them. There is a 98-year-old barber, and he lives in this. He's been cutting hair for 75 years in the same shop right on Route 66 in Seligman,
Yeah.
Arizona.
How
You
cool.
wouldn't know where Seligman is if I gave you an iPhone.
Yeah.
You would be like, what? How do I spell Seligman? This man was the nicest. He's 98 years old. He speaks better than you and I do.
Yeah.
And he's just talking about, I've met people from all over the world, and I've cut every person's hair, that like every different race and religion and creed and nationality, and I've cut people's hair from Australia to Japan to Norway and I think the thing that another woman told me, who is a shop owner that just revitalized this old truck stop and turned it into a little diner called the You Stop In, very cool little
Yeah.
nickname there for a very cool looking building. She said, Americans lose sight on how big of a deal Route 66 is internationally. We think about the Autobahn, right? You hear the Autobahn, you're like, oh yeah, I can go as fast as I want. There's no speed limit. Growing up, that was like all I knew of Europe,
Yeah.
right? So I have to imagine now I'm putting my shoes in, on the other foot. They have to be like Route 66 had
It's
to have been the
classic.
coolest thing in the 60s and
And-
70s and 80s.
And cars do bring people together. And you talk about the concept of a road trip, or we all remember the family road trips, or the memories learning how to drive. And there are so many stories with it. That's why we love our partnership with the Detroit Auto Show and the DADA and Sam and his entire team. And it's stuff like that really makes it cool. Because we all love cars, and we love, of course, being from here in Detroit, we have an appreciation for the vehicles themselves.
Right.
But it really is the memories as well that stand out, and how cool I thought it was to kind of be there when you guys got back and to see the caravan roll in and that trip conclude, and to conclude at the beginning of the 2026 Detroit Auto Show was awesome.
The emotions didn't hit me that day. I just remember smiling because, like, this is my hood, right? So these people that I went on the trip with, they'd be like, oh, I've been here and I've been on this stretch of the route and this and that. I'd never been. But then they're coming down Woodward from Big Rock and
Yeah,
Troy.
that's sweet.
And we got a police escort taking us through Birmingham and Troy and all the way down. Detroit police officer took us all the way down Woodward. People are staring at us. What's going on? We're going through red lights, and all these classic cars. And when we pulled up, it was just like, I'm showing my friends now my home.
How cool.
And it was just, that was like the emotional part for me at the end. And then we rolled them all in. And if you went to the auto show, you saw them, they were on display up there.
Yep.
But it was just so unique to finally like come home. And to me, it was deeper than just driving cars across the country, because it was literally like this journey that we went across the country with 20-some strangers and 9 classic cars and all the people. Again, I'll go back to the people every single time, because we were so well received at restaurants, and when we rolled down the street, people were honking their horns at us. I mean, it was the coolest freaking thing I've ever done.
And you know what? It makes me think about, with what we, and it's kind of a good way to wrap up this podcast discussion at large. But what we do at Make the Turn, I often will say to people, guys, look, we are not doctors in the hospital saving lives. We are not, fighting for our country in the military, so to speak. And I don't want to just speak in extreme examples, but it's true. And just for perspective, I often think about that. We're not saving lives. We're not, but it's stuff like this with what we do that it really is moments where you take great pride in what we do, because it does matter what we do.
Right.
And while we are a marketing firm and we're content creation and we're lead generation and we're helping, but when we can help businesses grow and help people get jobs and help tell stories and really, no pun intended, drive home the point of classic American culture, and highlighting, you mentioned the barber or people that are so passionate about their towns and their cities. That stuff really does hit home to me and means a lot as to the impact that we can help showcase for companies and people.
100%. I couldn't agree with any of that more. I think that for me, the idea I had going into it was to just do day one. This was our journey from beginning when we woke up until we went to bed. It was like a get ready with me, but let's go across the country, right? And originally I did the first one. I'm like, okay, that was good. And I did the second one. I was like, oh, that was good. And then I did the third one. I was like, oh, that was great. Mike, I've done a lot of really cool things in my career with broadcasting and now into this digital marketing world. This might be the thing I'm most proud of.
That's great.
And I think that when we eventually figure out a way to get this video out at large, I've already submitted it to film festivals. I think it's that good.
That's great.
And it's such a breath of fresh air, because we don't really see anything quite like it. And we love documentaries. If you're a Netflix doc person, this is going to be for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that's going to be so cool, because it's only about 35 minutes long. It flows really beautifully, and it truly takes you on the journey and makes you feel like you were in the car with us. And that's like just seeing it come off the page or off the film to me, when I finally got to sit down and watch it, I just couldn't help but cry. I was just so overwhelmed, because it was such a beautiful trip at just a really great time in life. And man, to your point about helping businesses and partners and clients tell their stories, it's more important than ever that we're authentic, and that we're real with people, and that you just showcase who you are and why you're a great person to work with in that space.
And what you believe in.
And what you believe in.
What you're passionate about.
Right.
You can tell if someone's passionate about something. Some of my favorite conversations are stuff that I really never thought to have an interest in. But if I can tell someone's passionate about it, I want to talk to them.
I'm hooked.
Even if it's a chance to learn too. So it's telling the story, and it's giving people an opportunity to learn as well.
Well, just to that point, real quick before we wrap, I'm not a car guy.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm a lease. Give me a lease, or 2 years, give me a new. I'm not fixing anything. I can change a tire, so I'm not totally helpless. I'm not a car guy. I love cars now. Not only because of the auto show, but like this trip was just like, oh my God, I want to get a car. I'll tell you one more story real quick, and this is really meaningful. One of the men who drove one of the Cougars, he had a Mercury Cougar that his uncle salvaged for him in the Pacific Northwest. They fixed it up together. Him and his high school friends, they put this car back together from scratch, right? So he drove that. He's featured in one of the videos where he talks about his love for this car and how it's his favorite car. And this guy's got Lamborghinis and like he's a car guy where he's got a garage filled with like 30 cars, a couple $100 million in cars. This is his favorite car. He comes up to me at the charity preview and he said, "Hey, I need to talk to you." Pulls me aside. Of course, we're all having a good time, celebrating and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He said, "I showed the video that you did of my day, of my car, to my uncle yesterday. He passed away this morning."
Oh.
And I'm getting chills just saying it. He started tearing up and he said, "I don't think you know how meaningful it was for that to be shown, like for him to be able to see that car and me enjoy that car the way that I was and that video showed." He died happy. Wow. I know he died happy. And it's like we talk about
moments like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we talk about when we talk about impact. It's not, did we make you more money? Yeah, that's important, but like can you emotionally connect to something that's greater than just dollars and cents? And I think that's something that we focus on.
Or views or likes or comment. It is more to that. And I think there's a lot of that's that quote. If you don't have a story, you don't have a way to persuade people type thing. And not that it's all about. You're right. From a sales side, sure, you absolutely do need a story, and I could talk for days about that with how competitive every industry is and how you need to differentiate and all. That's a whole other discussion. But from just a pure human interest side and just passion side, you have to have that story to really resonate with people, and everyone does. And it's you do a great job, finding those stories, and you did a heck of a job on this trip. I'm sure it was a lot of fun doing this and memorable and a trip of a lifetime. But let's be clear. It also was a lot of work, and I say that in a metaphorical pat you on the back type way because it was also a lot of work that you did putting all this together and a lot of time and effort doing it. So great job with it.
Thank you, sir.
And I guess just to kind of wrap, I didn't have any pure way to end this, so to speak. I mean, this is a very organic discussion, but I flipped over this, little brochure about the drive home, America's Automotive Trust, Route 66, all that, and I figured we would just end with this quote on the back. It says, "Honor the past, celebrate the present, drive the future." What do you, in closing? I think that it's really exciting to think about the future of all that we're doing. I think it's very exciting, in particular, to think about the future of our partnership with the Detroit Auto Show and DADA and all that we're going to do with future projects like this as we do look into the future with Detroit Auto Show and continue to be a great partner. So, any just final comments on that future?
I have been in talks with many of the people on the board of America's Automotive Trust already. They really do enjoy the work that we did, the work that we put out. And when discussion, a friend of mine was just in a board meeting out in Arizona, and he showed some of the clips that I had done. And apparently he told me, he texted me the other day, he said, "Justin, they took special exemption to make a standing ovation for your work."
Wow, that's great.
And he's like, "I wish you would have been in there to see it." And it was unprompted, so I didn't film it or whatever. But wow. So he's like, "Don't be surprised when you get a phone call very shortly when we're planning the 2026 drive home, 2027 drive home, because we're going to be doing it again. The tradition will continue, and the storytelling component was so different this year than it had been in years past. And that's an element I felt that we really brought to the table for them and pitch them. So I'm super excited to see where we might be going and driving next year.
And awesome stuff, and our entire team that participate in the auto show. I mean, I think about everyone's involvement down there. George did a ton. Allison and Carly and me and Kyle were certainly down there a lot. We had to even go out and hire several other people in our network and assistants that we've had over the years to assist as well. Christina and Joe Maroon and various Lydia. You can go on and on.
Yeah.
And I don't like naming names sometimes because you feel like you
forget somebody. Ryan.
But yeah, it's really just excited and appreciative for the DADA and Detroit Auto Show and Sam and his whole team. Again, Michelle's great to work with. And
Omar.
And they have such a a great team that's passionate about not only the Detroit Auto Show itself, but about this city and area and just growing the auto show. So it should be. I think we're very thankful to have that partnership and look forward to much more with the Detroit Auto Show.
Yeah, and I think you just hit on it. Just to wrap it, have passion about what you're doing. If you have passion about what you're doing, truly, you don't really feel like you're working. And that's why I love working here with you guys, because this is every day is a new passion.
Yep.
This new podcast is a new passion now. Now we have this great opportunity. So if you're looking for a way to creatively express your passion for what you do, let us know.